What is going on, everybody? Gamers Goon here today, coming off of Week 7. Technically, there's still a game going on right now that could affect my top 25. I don't think it will, because Utah is up like 25 points right now on Arizona State without Sam Leavitt, and it's in the fourth quarter. It's not going to happen. But we are here for Week 8. This video is going to be uploaded like super late, I know, or early, depending where you're at. But we do have a lot of games early this week. We start off real early this week with Tuesday games. So we're going to get on over to it. But as always, let's come over here and show you the new updated top 25. As you can see, lots and lots of movement this week. And specifically, the movement comes from Indiana with a big jump. And let's talk about Indiana for a minute. I kind of wanted to talk about them when we get to them, but they're not a feature game this week, unfortunately, for them. Indiana might win a national championship. That's how good this team is. I don't think they will, but don't be surprised if they do. Don't be surprised if they do. Indiana, traveling out to Eugene, tough place to beat, to win against Oregon, was the longest winning streak at home, I believe, heading into that game. They handle business. They handle business against my Oregon Ducks, as you can see. Still repping them. Tough loss is what it is. As you can see behind me as well, I'm also an Illinois fan, so Curt Cignetti. I'm 0 for 2 against Curt Cignetti this year. But a lot of respect for the Indiana team. That Indiana team, I think, is going to be one of the top 5 teams in the country. As you can see, they're top 3 for me. And I think there's a legitimate case they're number 1. I really do. I like Miami more right now. Miami has been a little bit more impressive to me. But Indiana, if you wanted to put them 1, I wouldn't complain. Ohio State, if you wanted to make an argument that they'd be ahead of Ohio State, there is an argument to be made. But right now, I have them at 3. Indiana, shout out to them. They're really good. I moved A&M up, and I moved them up because they impressed me against Florida. Florida kind of opened my eyes last week, and I was like, okay, maybe we should start putting a little bit more respect on this Florida team, because they beat Texas. Texas, by the way, beat Oklahoma, so that's why you see Oklahoma sliding down. Ole Miss, I think I slid them down a spot. Maybe I kept them where they are. Not super impressive. Won a game by 3 points. Look like they might lose. Kind of concerning. There's some red flags starting to pop up with them. I gave them the benefit of the doubt this week, but they're another team that's starting to show some signs, maybe sliding down a little bit. Texas Tech, I think, is playing really good football. I could definitely see an argument there. And then the middle, man, it's a gauntlet in there. It really is. BYU, I was waiting for the BYU game to end before I started this video. BYU being the one, really, that you have to worry about the most. Because, guess what? They are undefeated and could be your potential Group of 5 victor and enter the playoffs. Virginia, very high on them. They are on a bye week, though, so they didn't really move up. But anywhere in that middle group, I think anybody could really win. From Alabama up until maybe, I would say you can maybe even get to like Notre Dame, all the way to 23. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams made the playoffs. But we're going to advance, and we are going to talk about the quick pick games this week. And these are started on Tuesday. New Mexico State going up against Liberty. New Mexico State should handle business there. Liberty hasn't been very good. 27-21 New Mexico State. Arkansas State going up against South Alabama. Interesting one. Could pique my interest a little bit on Tuesday night. Arkansas State, though, I have winning 24-20. Florida International going up against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky should handle business here, 31-10. Then we get some Wednesday games. Got a pair of them. Delaware versus Jacksonville State. I get Delaware winning a tight shootout, 38-35. UTEP going up against Sam Houston. I'm going UTEP. Sam Houston winless so far. I got UTEP winning 24-10. Then we get to the Thursday games. This is where we should usually have some games, but we only got one this week, and that is Tulsa going up against ECU. Not a very good game. ECU should handle business, 31-17. And then we're going to, we're going to wrap up the Friday, and then we're going to go to the Friday game. But on Friday, we got Nebraska versus Minnesota. Spoiler alert, Nebraska is quickly approaching being ranked. Now, I'm going to give you some behind the scenes on where I rank Nebraska. Right now, they're at 28th in my top 30. Michigan's at 27th after they dropped their game. So, if they would have beat Michigan, they'd probably be ranked. But Nebraska, they're quickly approaching the top 25. So, watch out for Nebraska. They should handle business here. Minnesota wins 28-17. Or my bad, Nebraska wins 28-17. Minnesota does not win. They do not win. Do not take Minnesota to win. San Jose State going up against Utah State. Not a game I'm particularly interested in. Utah State, I think, will win. 28-21 is my score there. And then we get North Carolina going up against California. Interesting game. NC kind of talking about Bill Belichick potentially leaving the team at some point this season. Never good to have those rumors going around about your team. Cal handles business 28-24. All right, let's get over to our first feature game of the week, and this one's big. This one is big. I was debating on wrapping up the video with this one, but I spoiler alert, we are going to wrap it up with Tennessee, Alabama. But this one's huge. Louisville has been really, really good. They're a team that I think have a lot of things to prove still. But this was a team, if you remember, not too long ago, I had ranked. I don't have them ranked right now, and that's because they have that loss against Virginia. But as you saw, I'm really high on Virginia. I mean, the teams around the country are dropping like flies right now, losing games. Virginia, I mean, they had a loss, but they've looked really good since then. I think Virginia's really good, and that kind of translates over here to Louisville. I think Louisville hung with that Virginia team, and if I think Virginia is really good, Louisville is right up there with them. And unfortunately for Louisville, there's not a spot for them in my top 25 at the moment. But Louisville is a team that I think could prove that they belong in the discussion here Friday night against Miami. I do not know if this is going to be some blowout Miami style, like Miami just going in and doing what Miami's done to a lot of teams so far this year. Let me read you the Miami score lines this year. The Florida, they won by 19. South Florida, they won by 37. I believe that's what it comes down to. And then they did win by 3 and 6 to Florida State both. So I expect this game to kind of be in that range, maybe like 3 to 10 points, somewhere in that line. Louisville, I don't think wins this game. I have it at 11. I do have it at 11. But it's not going to be a complete blowout. I think Louisville will keep it somewhat respectable. Miami, I'm going to be honest, stingy defense. I don't know if Miller Moss and Louisville will be able to get things going here. I got Miami winning in one here, 28-17. It should be a fun game. Should be a game here that Louisville, you have an opportunity to make a name for yourself. This is my number one team in the country, Miami. Miami is playing really good football at the moment. They have been dominating quality competition. They have, in my opinion, the best resume in the country at the moment. Miami's a really good football team. Louisville, if you can pull off a win here against them, let me remind you of what my top 25 looks like. Every team at 7 and below, outside of BYU, has, I think Memphis doesn't have a loss, but there is a lot of opportunities with one-loss teams right now in the top 12 for playoffs and top 25 in general. There is a lot of things that could happen here if you are Louisville that you can really start to put together your own resume and make your own case for the college football playoffs here in the next couple of weeks, because I think we'll start seeing those rankings come out. And I'll still be doing my rankings of the top 25, but I think it's going to be a good game. I really do. I don't know if it's going to be super high scoring. Friday night games are kind of weird. So I think here, 28-17, Miami like I said, I think is playing the best football in the country right now, so I am going to give them the edge in this one. Then we get to Saturday morning. Saturday morning, we got UConn going up against Boston College. I debated on giving UConn the win here, but I went Boston College here, 27-24. Boston College hasn't been coming out on the right side of games, but they played fairly well. Georgia Tech versus Duke. Here's an upset for you. I got Duke winning 28-24. And reminder, yet again, Georgia Tech is my 11th team. They have a good resume right now. They look pretty good. I do think they're susceptible to a letdown game. Duke is a physical team. Duke is a team that can go out there and win on their day. Watch out for Duke to maybe win this game. I'm taking Duke. Don't necessarily follow that to like a T. I'm not guaranteeing Duke, but I am taking Duke. Baylor versus TCU. I got TCU in this one. TCU, another team that just fell outside the top 25 this week, but they win 31-28. Central Michigan going up against Bowling Green. Bowling Green coming off a win. I think they win 24-21. Army going up against Tulane. I got Tulane winning 38-28. Tulane, another team right now on the bubble of being ranked. Kind of hesitant to do it, though, at the moment. Eastern Michigan going up against Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio wins a close one, 21-17. Arizona going up against Houston. Had some difficulty with this one. Arizona convinced me more tonight. I'm going Arizona 31-28. Washington versus Michigan. Michigan, like I said, currently unranked. This one's being hosted at Michigan, though. This one's hosted at Michigan. I think Washington might show some signs here. They're going to go across the country, and I think they're going to lay a stinker. Well, not even a stinker. I have the score being a good one, 28-21, but I just think a cross-country trip right now for Washington is not the best thing for them, so I expect them to probably slide down next week. West Virginia going up against UCF. We have UCF winning a tight one, 24-21. Kent State versus Toledo. Toledo coming off an L to Bowling Green. Kind of shocking. Toledo, though, wins this one, 28-17. Buffalo going up against UMass. Buffalo's winning that one pretty easily, 35-17. Purdue going up against Northwestern. Give me Northwestern. Coming off a big win against Penn State. Penn State completely spiraling out of control at the moment. Northwestern wins this one, 31-28 against Purdue. Troy versus Louisiana Monroe. I got a low-scoring 17-14 game for Troy. Old Dominion going up against James Madison. I'm going to be tuned into this one, I think. I think I'm going to try to tune into this one. I don't know exactly what time this is, but I am going to follow it. At least have the notifications coming up on my phone, because I think this is going to be a high-scoring one. I got Old Dominion losing it in a tight 41-38 loss here to JMU. I'm taking JMU because they're at home. Don't love taking JMU, but I think it's going to be a shootout. All right, we have, you know what, let's get into another feature game. We're going to get into, yeah, I know, you're not crazy. You are not crazy. You are seeing this correctly. You are seeing this correctly here, folks. We are talking about UNLV going up against Boise State. Now, Boise State, I think their game's still going on, at least it was at the time of the recording, is what it is. But the reason I want to go over this game is because this game very well could be your Mountain West winner. The winner of the Mountain West could come from this game. And I think we need to start talking about those options, right? Because I've told you, hey, our feature games are going to be games that I think can matter. Boise State, obviously, we know they're 4-2. I haven't had them ranked for quite some time, right? They lost to USF. They had the Notre Dame loss, but those are two top 25 teams. Boise State right now against New Mexico, by the way, who beat UCLA, they won 41-25. They haven't had really any issues. Air Force kind of gave them some struggles, but Air Force has been scoring a lot of points. Either way, Boise State's a respectable college football team right now. They might not be as great as they were last year, but it's still a good team. UNLV, I'm going to be honest. To this point, UCLA was impressive. Air Force, they were going to put up a lot of points. Miami, Ohio's decent. They're not great. You've had a lot of games that, for the most part, you should have went in as the favorites. Maybe not the UCLA game. Boise State, though, does provide a unique test here, though. Boise State, to this point, in my opinion, is probably the best team that they have came up against. And then the remainder of their schedule, I'll read it to you. New Mexico, you figured they'd win. Colorado State's not been playing very well. Utah State is an interesting one. They might be able to do it. They are currently in Hawaii, tied. Wow, I didn't even know that. But well, I knew they were playing Hawaii. I didn't know that that's where they were, or that they were still playing. But yeah, they play Utah State and Hawaii back to back. Two teams you'd think you'd probably take UNLV, and then Nevada. So you look at the remainder of their schedule. If they get past Boise State, UNLV will be undefeated. And UNLV probably at that point, if they lose or if they win out, they're probably looking at San Diego State. They're probably looking at San Diego State as the team that they will be playing in the conference championship. So, I follow that up with saying, I think you now have a chance here to potentially, now I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but there's a good chance that you might be able to find UNLV in the playoffs. I'm saying it now. UNLV wins this game against Boise State, and I think there's a really good chance for them to be in the playoffs. So that is why we're talking about it. This is a must-win game for Boise State. Boise State, I don't know if there is a path in, because quite honestly, they have 2 losses, right? And it's hard for not power 4 teams to make it, right? The group of 5 has a struggle to make it into the playoffs. This one, I think the best, I don't know if Boise State has a chance. If there's any chance, they have to win the conference. They have to win the conference and get in by being the top conference winner, right? The best record of the conference winner, whatever it is, right? That criteria. They need to find a way to win this game against UNLV. And as much as I really am buying into this UNLV team, spoiler alert here as well, I had them in at 26th in my poll this week. They were just about to be ranked. Didn't want to pull the trigger on them just yet because I haven't seen them play somebody. I don't know that Boise State is necessarily a huge resume boost, but the UCLA win's starting to look better, right? And Boise State, obviously we know they can handle business. That's starting to put on a better resume than some other teams right now that are ranked, like Washington. Washington has their most impressive thing is not getting blown out by Ohio State, right? So watch out here for this game. I'm taking Boise State to win. I'm taking them to win. I know it might be delusional, but I really think this Boise State team is better than their record. I really think that this Boise State team can turn it around. I think it's going to be another high-scoring game probably. And this one, I got Boise State winning 35-31. 35-31. So let's get back into the quick picks. After that Boise game. And where did we leave off? Because there was a bunch of names. There was a bunch of them. Did we talk about... Did we stop after... I think we stopped at Washington, Michigan. We're going Michigan to win that one 28-24. If not, I do know we went over the Eastern Michigan one. Arizona versus Houston. Did I say that? Arizona's going to win 31-28. Michigan, 28-21. West Virginia versus UCF. No, we already got through those. I remember talking about them. Oh, yeah, we stopped at Old Dominion. My apologies. Old Dominion's where we stopped. Ohio State going up against Wisconsin. Wisconsin has not looked good in Ohio State. I think this is where they kind of show their dominance. 42-6 there. UTSA going up against North Texas. North Texas had a big chance against USF. They lost. North Texas wins this one 38-24, trying to find a way in to the top 25. Ole Miss going up against Georgia. Give me Georgia in a close one. Quick reminder there with that one. Ole Miss is number 5. Georgia is number 9. But I do think that Ole Miss is starting to show some signs, and Georgia's playing at home in this one. SMU going up against Clemson. Give me Clemson. Clemson finally looked like a good team today. 38-31 in that one, SMU. I still like them, but I think it's kind of writing on the wall there. Michigan State versus Indiana. Shout out to Michigan State. They're not getting the job done against Indiana. Indiana's just too good right now. 38-14 for Indiana. Northern Illinois going up against Ohio. Low score. Ohio wins 16-10. We already talked about UNLV. Next, we get to Wyoming versus Air Force. Air Force likes to put up points. They'll do it here. 35-21 against Wyoming. Temple versus Charlotte. Give me Temple to win 24-17. Coastal Carolina going up against Appalachian State. This one is pretty simple for me. I'm going App State to win 28-24. Next, give me Akron and Ball State. We're taking Ball State 24-21 in that one. And then lastly, we're going to go Texas State and Marshall. We're going to have Marshall win that one 31-28. So let's get back into a feature game, and this one is going to be USC versus Notre Dame. And we do have early lines on this game because, reminder, we are filming this literally right after the BYU game ended, so we can get it up super early Sunday, right? We do have an early line on this game. Minus 10.5 in the favor of Notre Dame. I don't love the line. Right? Michigan was supposed to beat and handle USC, right? USC, I know they lost to Illinois. And to remind you, I have USC above Illinois. Illinois, a 2-loss team. USC went on the road, lost a close one to Illinois. A game that they almost pulled out. I get it that most people would probably have Illinois over the team they beat. I'm an Illinois fan, and I'm telling you, Illinois got lucky to beat USC that day. They did. USC is a really good team. I think USC is going to surprise some people down the stretch. Big chance here. Notre Dame, you have to win this one if you're Notre Dame. You have to win this one. You have 2 losses. Yes, I think it's by a combined 4 points. You don't have a conference championship at Notre Dame. They don't have them. It's not me saying they won't make it to a conference. They don't play in conference. They can't make it there, which ultimately takes them down a step from the rest of the pack, right? You can't win a conference championship and say that's how we got into the playoffs. You have to do it throughout the regular season. And if you get to 3 losses, I hate to break it to you, unless some craziness happens down the stretch, and there's been some craziness so far, it's going to be really hard to break in. 12 teams make it. Last year, I think there was a 3-loss team to make it, but that team, I think, was Arizona State. I think it was, and they won their conference championship. You don't have a conference championship at Notre Dame. This is a must-win against USC. I really like this USC team. I do. I think they're good. I think Maiyava's better than people give him credit. I think Mekhi Lemon's one of the best receivers in the country. I think this team is super talented. But ultimately, I got to go Notre Dame to win this one. They will not cover the 10.5. USC is too good of a team for that. But Notre Dame, this is a must-win. They have to win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If they lose, they're done. If they lose, their percent chance goes from 5% right now to maybe 0. Maybe if they're lucky, it's a 0.01% chance if everybody else craps the bed. Notre Dame, you got to win. Give me Notre Dame to pull it off. I'm going Notre Dame to win 27-24 in that one. So we're going to wrap it up here. We got 2 more feature games, and we got a couple other picks here to rack up the quick picks. We're going to rattle off half the quick picks and then go to our last 2 feature games. So next we get to Texas A&M going up against Arkansas. Arkansas had a good battle today. Didn't get the job done. A&M should win. Next week, 28-21 is my score there. I think Arkansas keeps it respectable. Texas Tech going up against Arizona State. Texas Tech looks good. Arizona State without Sam Leavitt will not be competitive in this game. Texas Tech will get to 38 points. I'm telling you that right now. Texas Tech will get there. If Sam Leavitt plays, I think Arizona State can get to 31. If not, they probably get to like 21, maybe. But yeah, Texas Tech, take them. Memphis versus UAB. Give me Memphis all day. 28-17 in that one. Mississippi State going up against Florida. I think Mississippi State has a chance, but I'm taking Florida to win 28-24. Southern Mississippi going up against Louisiana. Give me Southern Mississippi to win a tight one, 24-20. Oregon versus Rutgers. Dan Lanning getting his get back at Rutgers. We got some problems with the color red right now after Indiana. Oregon's going to win 38-10. Wazoo going up against Virginia. Wazoo almost made an upset happen this week, but Virginia not going to let it happen. 35-21 for Virginia. Georgia State versus Georgia Southern. I just flipped a coin here. Georgia State's going to win 28-24. You could take either. I don't care. Maryland versus UCLA. UCLA's playing some good football right now. The last 2 games, UCLA's been good. I think it comes to an end here in Maryland. They're on a little bit of a skid themselves, but they look good in their skid, surprisingly. I think they bounce back here against UCLA. I think Maryland wins 31-28. Maryland's a good team, so I think UCLA has a team in them as well. Just kind of had a rough start to the year. Penn State versus Iowa. Hey, man, I'm giving up on this Penn State team. We are wishing Drew Aller the best. Franklin came out and said that Aller's done for the season. I don't know what injury happened to him because I was not watching their game. But Drew Aller out for the season, so we're wishing him a speedy recovery and hope nothing is seriously wrong. So hopefully he's back on the field and hopefully he's ready for the NFL draft, right? Because we thought he'd probably be a draft prospect, so hopefully there's no long-term impacts there with him. But this Penn State team, man, especially without Drew Aller, the offense hasn't really been good with him. Can't imagine them being good without him. This is gonna in Iowa. They like to make it. They like to make it one of those scrappy games. They didn't do it, they kind of did it. They kind of blew out Wisconsin, which is shocking. They might do it to Penn State. Who knows? But Iowa gonna play a scrappy game. I got them winning 16-10 here against Penn State. Low scoring game. Hawaii versus Colorado State. Colorado State just hasn't looked good. I'm going Hawaii 24-17. We talked about USC already. Next, we are going to do Florida Atlantic going up against USF. USF, once again, really impressed by them this season. 35-14 for them. Pitt versus Syracuse. Pitt coming off of a win today, I believe. Who did Pitt beat? They beat somebody notable this week. Oh, yeah, they beat Florida State. Pitt. I got Pitt winning that game. Syracuse, they'll keep it competitive, but Pitt wins 35-28. Next, we're going to get into our second to last feature game of the week, which is LSU versus Vanderbilt. LSU hung on, man. They hung on this week in a 20-10 battle against South Carolina. A game, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily know that either team really deserved to win, but one team had to win. And LSU came out on top. LSU starting to show some red flags themselves. I tend to trust the talent on LSU, but they've started to show maybe some hiccups in their game that, like Ole Miss, don't be surprised if maybe they lose one here in the next couple weeks. I think it could happen. I still got to respect that LSU is a really good team right now, though. I'm not going to drop them down significantly until a team proves to be better or they prove to just need to be dropped. But LSU is starting to show some signs that they might lose a game here in the next couple of weeks. And I got it being this one. I'm taking Diego Pavia and Vandy, man. I'm taking them to win. Did I take Vandy last time? I haven't taken Vandy, I don't think, this year. Yeah, we took Bama to beat Vandy. I'm taking Vandy. You got to get Diego Pavia his trademark win of the season somewhere. I think it could be this one against LSU. If it is this one against LSU, when I'm talking about these teams that, you have one loss, you could still make the playoffs. A team like LSU having another hiccup, is the kind of thing I'm talking about. So this is potentially a spot for a team like Vandy, who is right now a little bit further down in the rankings, to move all the way back up and put themselves in a legitimate shot for the playoffs. But I'm taking Vandy to win 27-24. You know I'm a big fan of Nussmeier. I think he is potentially a QB1 in the NFL. Hasn't really been great this year, but I think he's a little dinged up, and the offensive unit as a whole just hasn't been that great. I still think there's a good player there, but maybe it's not just as immediate as I was hoping. But I trust the talent there with Nussmeier. I think it'll be a good game. We're taking Vandy to win, though. All right, we're going to wrap it up with the quick picks, and then we're going to go over to Tennessee versus Alabama to wrap things up. We got Cincinnati versus Oklahoma State. Cincinnati ranked this week. They win 31-17. Utah versus BYU. That's a ranked game. I'm going to go this way because it's easier. That's a ranked game, 22 versus 15 for me. This one is at BYU. BYU should have all the advantages. But BYU has been scaring me recently, man, and it pains me to do this. It pains me to do this. I can't even tell you how much it pains me to do this because I have been rocking with BYU this whole season. I got them 15th for a reason. I love this BYU team. I think they are a very good team. With all that being said, though, I got to take Utah. I think Utah would probably be ahead of BYU right now if they didn't have their hiccup. But it happened. And you played a tough Texas Tech team. I believe it was Texas Tech at least. But it happened. Is what it is. Either way, I got Utah winning the road game here. It's going to be a tight one. 28-24. Nevada versus New Mexico. We're going New Mexico in that one, 28-17. Lafayette going up against Oregon State. Give me Oregon State 27-10. Oregon State, you need to win. Florida State going up against Stanford. Florida State, get your get-back game here this week. Stanford, not a very good team. 35-17 for Florida State. Missouri versus Auburn. Missouri, man, they were this close. Auburn, they were also this close. It's going to be a close one. Missouri wins, though, 24-21. Oklahoma versus South Carolina. Oklahoma lost to Texas. You lost to Texas. A team we kind of were stopping, putting hype behind. Well, guess what? Texas is now back into my top 30. They were out of it. Now they're 29th. They have the Oklahoma win, which is a good win. I can't argue it. But I got to tell you. I'm still holding those two bad losses against you. Well, I mean, the first one wasn't bad. Your offense just hasn't been good. And your offense just hasn't really looked that good all year, basically. But it is what it is. I don't have Texas ranked. They'll probably be ranked here soon, though. But Oklahoma, I got them beating South Carolina 28-21. Texas versus Kentucky. Like I said, Texas probably going to be ranked here in the next week or two. Texas plays Kentucky. They should handle business 28-14 there. Then we wrap it up with my game of the week. The big one. We got Alabama hosting Tennessee. Shout out to my boy Cam. But we got a big one. Aguilar versus Ty Simpson. A Tennessee team that, I mean, they put on some. They almost got upset this week. Alabama, they're a team that I think is playing some of the best football in the country. Reminder, I have Alabama at 6. The only reason, or at 7, my apologies. The only reason they're not like in the top 4 is because they have that Florida State loss, and that Florida State team continues to make it look worse, right? Oregon, same thing there. Penn State, hasn't been good, and that's your kind of your trademark win at the moment. So you're starting to slide down a little bit behind teams that are undefeated and winning games, but I do find some red flags in, like Ole Miss. But Tennessee's a capable team. Bama's a capable team. You got to remember, this Tennessee team took Georgia to the wire, and they probably should have beat Georgia. Now, Alabama, the Florida State game was ugly. It was early season. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they're a good team. They like to make it a game. They like to. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. They like to try to slow down the game a little bit, make you a little bit uncomfortable at the pace of the play. They're going to murky it up a little bit. Tennessee, they want to get out. They want to score. They're not going to do it here. They're not going to do it here. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be in the mid-20s for both teams. You're not going to see either of these teams in the 30s or 40s like you saw against Georgia. This Alabama defense is good. Tennessee's defense, I think, will hang around. Alabama right now, 11.5-point favorites. Don't love that. Don't love that. But we're keeping it close. Give me Alabama. Roll Tide, 28-24. 28-24. We are rocking with the Roll Tide. Nothing but the Tide. You know what they say. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Tennessee win this game. Because Alabama does scare me a little bit. I'm going to be honest. They're a team that I'm looking at as, yeah, that team could win a national championship. I know they have that Florida State loss, but that's a team that, on their best day, could be the best team in the country. There's a few teams right now that I look at like that, right? There's a few teams that I think at their best could be in that top 2, top 3. Indiana. Right? Indiana, I think at their best could be number 1. Ohio State, same thing. Miami, same thing. Kind of just who we've seen it out of more. I think here with a lot of these teams, there's a case for Oregon. There's a case for Alabama. There's a case for Texas Tech, right? There's a case for Georgia. On their day, could get the job done. But I've also seen the floor of Alabama. So what Bama do we get? Do we get the Bama that lost to Florida State, or do we get the Bama that's going to go in and win a top 25 game? I don't know. That's not for me to decide. That's for Kalen DeBoer and Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams and all them fellows to figure out. It's not my decision. It's Alabama's decision. Tennessee, I think they can win. They have to make Bama play an uncharacteristic game. That is how you win against them. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Especially if you are like the whatever time this video will be uploaded, like 1:30 a.m. crew, I guess. I don't know. It's gonna be up pretty early because I'm gonna upload it before I go to bed here. But thank you for watching. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below who you think is going to win this week. But I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.